Hello, I am Jason and welcome to another episode of Historically Marked. I am outside an abandoned place here on Route 66 in Missouri, outside Newburg, Missouri. And this is, when I say abandoned, I mean, I really mean it. I mean, there's literally been nothing here in the last 50 years that has been active. And the place is called, or was called, John's Modern Cabins, but it still stands today, but little by little. I don't know the best way to put it. There is no historical marker here. I mean, there is a sign with very little history to it, but I'll just go ahead and show you the site. So here we go. So when upon entering this site, you'll notice the notice sign. John's Modern Cabins is located on private property. Well, duh. In addition, this former motor court was built in the 1930s. Like all structures exposed to time, the elements, and a lack of upkeep, John's Modern Cabins are in a serious state of decay. And then it all goes into, you know, if you do anything or if you get hurt or, I don't know, any damage, you assume, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I am not planning on going inside any of the cabins because obviously once you see it, I mean, you can already tell that one's collapsed. That one is still standing, but I am not going to do anything dangerous by going in there because I'm sure there's a lot of, like, maybe some toxic stuff like asbestos. And yeah, and it looks like somebody had a cookout here recently because I see a barbecue grill that looks shiny. All right, so now for some history. So the name is very ironic, you know, because, yeah, it was, I mean, today it's anything but John's Modern Cabins goes all the way back to 1931 when Beatrice and Bill Bayless opened Bill and Bess's place. It was a tourist court, and of course people stayed here on their way out west or east on Route 66. And it had 6 log cabins and a dance hall, and this was during the Depression era, where cabins and campgrounds were popular, low-cost alternatives to expensive hotels. And remember, popular chains were not really, you know, common. So they sold the property a decade later. At this point, there would be all kinds of cabins in this region. It was much needed to house personnel around Fort Leonard Wood, which is about a 10-mile radius from here. But the site had changed many hands until finally a man, well, actually a couple, John and Lillian Dosh, bought this in 1951 for only $5,000. And of course, a lot of big money back then when coming to purchase big name properties. But John Dosh would soon acquire the nickname Sunday John for selling beer 7 days a week in open defiance of the local laws of the era. But by 1957, this place was becoming more worthless or useless because Route 66 had changed past by that time, and the dance hall was removed, and many other nearby motels and hotels and restaurants were closing. And then you also have Interstate 44, which was constructed. It's like a mile ahead, but anywho, John Dosh closed the business upon his wife Lillian's death. And then John passed away in 1971 and leaving the property vacant and unattended. And so ever since 1971, in other words 50 years ago, this site became abandoned. Now Loretta Ross of St. Charles, Missouri purchased this site in 1976, but again those plans went nowhere, leaving this place additionally abandoned. I don't even know if those two words even go together. But for the next 30 years, I mean, these sites were just left decaying, and they all went down one by one. Now, I did watch one of Roman Rich's videos where he tried to do something to that sign. I mean, you can watch it whenever you get done watching this one. Now, at one point, there were 8 cabins here, including a restaurant, or maybe plus a restaurant. And many Route 66 enthusiasts have been here. I don't really know how many on a weekly basis go by here. I mean, I'm sure a lot of international travelers come here. Actually, I take that back. There were not 8 cabins, but there was like more 8 rooms, I should say. Like maybe a cabin had more than 1 room. And this area is kind of hard to find, but not really. I mean, if you're really, if you're just on a sightseeing trip, not aware of what this is, yes, you'll probably miss it. Now, this road takes you to the new Route 66 way, but that does not take you any place because it ends like within 2 or 3 miles. So you're better off going back on Interstate 44. But this right here is the old Route 66, which of course dates back to 1926, and there are a couple other abandoned motels just right around the corner. In fact, you can see, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but there is an old motel sign. And then Roman Rich, who has done plenty of Route 66 videos, he painted this, which I think is cool. But again, it is not safe for anyone to be on this property. I know I'm sounding like a hypocrite, but you know, for any Route 66 traveler who has plenty of curious, I mean, it's worth stopping here, but I do not recommend going inside or touching anything because I didn't. But I mean, you can kind of walk around, but again, you know, you got to read that sign first if you're going to do anything. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. Sorry there really wasn't much to see, but I hope it was interesting enough for anyone who's getting their kicks on Route 66, a chance to see, you know, Route 66 past and present. And unfortunately, it's hanging by a thread and it's on life support, so best way to put it, yeah. But again, please be careful if you do attend, if you go to this site outside Newberg, Missouri. I mean, it's interesting, but it's also dangerous, and again, I'm trespassing, but then again, a lot of other YouTubers have, so. But anyway, I'm Jason at John's Modern Cabins, signing off.